Okay, this video is on multiplication thinking skills. Um, so a few things that I want to cover is, first of all, just sort of maybe it's a little pedagogy about sort of how you lead up to lead a student through thinking about multiplication, and then also I'm going to talk a little bit about some mental math ideas here. So here we go. So I mean, the big thing about this is, again, and as you're thinking about this as a future teacher, like really this kind of stuff should sink in. Multiplication is repeated addition. Okay, so for example, let me see. I'll say 2 times blank, right? So that's a very straightforward way to think about. And this is really, right, so this is 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. And these are the doubles from addition, right? So you're adding a number plus itself. And it's really the multiplication tables. Okay. So 3 times blank. Okay, we don't really do triples, so this isn't quite matter. But the other thing, this starts to introduce skip counting. Right, so if you just remember your counting thing, and instead of skipping every other one, which is really doubles, maybe I'll put that up here too, skip counting. You skip counting by 3s. Right. Okay. Now you would think that sort of some of the other stuff that you would do is naturally go to 4, 5, 6. 5s are actually pretty straightforward, and again, skip counting is the way to go with this. So 5, 10, 15, etc. And then multiplying by 10 is actually pretty sort of low-level multiplication. So it's, you know, if you think about this as repeated addition, it may seem difficult, but sort of once you kind of learn the rule, it's pretty straightforward, right, of adding the 0 there. Okay. Multiplying by 4, 6, and 8 are also in there quite a bit. You do some skip counting and so forth, but that, and then the difficult ones are often 7 and 9 are after that, until you get into higher 2-digit numbers for things like that. Okay. So one of the things, I mean, I think this may have been controversial for a little bit, but multiplication tables eventually multiplication tables are like, you know, basically facts. We're going to learn that sort of really understanding whole numbers and taking a whole number and breaking it down to its factors, which means multiplication, is like the bare bones essentials of mathematics. Okay, so that basically means that you need to know how to do multiplication like this. Multiplication tables, you know, are things that shouldn't just be memorized. They should be known. So what I typically say like that is, if you just give a fact of, say, 7 times 8 is 56, right? Not only is, oh, well, yes, that is true, and explain where that comes from. And that may be skip counting. It may be writing down some model which is often like a rectangular grid type of thing. Something like that to ensure that I would say both you and students know it type of thing. I think there was some time that multiplication tables, like, yeah, we don't need to know it so much. We've got these little calculators around. From my point of view, these are like key. Okay. So the last little thing I want to just talk about is sort of some mental math skills. All right. And let me to so let's say I've got a multiplication that looks like that, right? And so again, lots of these problems I'm not necessarily thinking about students doing these. It's kind of to reinforce you as a teacher to understand, like understanding the rules. So the one thing about this is, can I pick out? We're going to do the any order method on this, and can I figure out how to do this in an easier way? Right. Well, the thing that I would look at is, again, I got 2 times 5, and I've got 9 times 4. So I'm reordering these things like that, and I get 10 times 36, which is 360. Right? Okay. So let me do something like 13 times 20, a mental math thing. Okay. And the one thing I would look for this is there's a 10 in there, so that's not too hard, right? So the way I'm thinking about this is 13 times 2 times 10, right? And 13 times 2, hopefully you know it, but if you don't, it might not take too hard to do this. 26, right, times 10, so I get 260 type of thing. All right. Let me do a 17. Let me look at that. And again, the thing with this, basically any time I'm given things with more than 2 things, we're going to do any order type stuff. So I want to rearrange this. I'm going to do 17 times 4 times 25. Because 4 times 25 is 100, right? And I often emphasize right, money on this stuff. 4 quarters is $1 type of thing, like this. And then this is just 1,700. So we have things like that. Okay. I think that's good for this. So that wraps up